Welcome to Spooky Fun Time, a show where comedians face their fears. Now, here's your host, Brent Reed.
All right, welcome to Spooky Fun Time, a brand new podcast where comedians face their fears. I'm Brent Reed, in Austin, Texas, at the Creek in the Cave with my lovely producer who makes us look and sound good, Brandon Lejeune.
Hello.
I'm very excited for my special guest today. I got a hell of an intro for him. He headlines clubs all over the country. He was a finalist on season 16 of America's Got Talent. You may have seen it, one of his 2 comedy specials on DryBar. He was a writer on seasons 11 and 12 of Wild 'N Out. He's worked with dudes like Bert Kreischer, Joe Rogan, Pete Davidson, Michael Che, Mike Epps. Damn near 1 million followers on TikTok. He's a Pisces from Tampa, Florida. The hilarious Cam Bertrand.
Dude, that's the nicest intro I've ever gotten.
Yeah?
Was
that solid? Was that all right?
That was good.
So this morning, we've talked about, we met at a party, and we immediately bonded over horror movies. This morning, you'll be excited to know, I took my girlfriend to the airport at like 6 a.m. At 7 a.m., I watched The Collector.
Yeah, let's go.
And then I was typing up the questions and stuff during The Collection. I was kind of watching that one in the background.
Yeah.
But I saw the opening scene.
Crazy.
Wow. Okay, so you're into horror movies. Tell me about The Collector. Why do you like The Collector so much?
Because that's a creepy dude who could exist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even like all the bug stuff aside, that's a guy who could get a key to your house by being like, I'm an exterminator, and then just make copies of the keys and booby trap your house while you're gone.
Yeah, he's at the beginning of the movie. He's just the exterminator.
Just a guy. He's just a guy. He's just like doing little household things like extermination and whatnot.
Yeah, when the main character, he's like, hey, there's a wasp nest over there. He's talking to the killer.
Those are always so fun for me because like you go, oh, every day of my life, you could just run into that guy, and you have no idea. And that guy can booby trap a house and murder hundreds of people.
Shit.
Like,
my favorite kill in the first one, I think, is where the teenager gets home and she goes in with her boyfriend, and he kicks his ass and knocks him back on all those bear traps.
Yep.
And he slowly falls just on a bunch of bear trap. Like he steps on one first, it grabs his leg, and then he
proceeds to hit all the other ones.
Then he hits all the other ones, and then the last one smashes his head. That was my favorite kill.
So good.
Do you have a favorite part of that movie?
That's my favorite kill.
Yeah, that's got to be the coolest.
That's the coolest kill.
Oh, you'll be excited. I read this trivia thing. So so in the movie, Arkin he's working on the house. He breaks in to steal like a rock.
Diamond or something.
Yeah, it's like a red diamond rock thing. And it won't, he ends up finding that the killer's in there. He's fucking with this family. The little girl's in there somewhere. At one point, he escapes. He doesn't know where the little girl is. He thinks she's not even there.
She's just like in the window.
She's in the window. Do you know that they filmed an alternate ending where he escapes a house and he looks up that little girl in the window and he flips her off and walks away? Isn't that fun?
I love that the director was like, let's film this just in case, right? Because like they have the direction of the movie and how it's supposed to go, and then it was like, but maybe.
That's so, like, let's just film one where you flip her off and walk away.
Dude.
Isn't that great? But he ends up going back in. You have the big showdown with the killer. He gets out with a girl, and...
But realistically...
I would have left.
Dude, like,
I mean, that's
how could you not? How could you not? If we're being honest, that guy has a family, that guy has a daughter, that guy just escaped death, and then you look up in a window and you see a child you've never seen before.
Yeah.
You've never met, you've never interacted with.
Well, he didn't meet her. He had a tea party with her.
I
just watched it this morning.
Yeah, with the family.
He did have a little bit of a relationship with her, and he has a daughter her age. So that's his character flaw. That's why he went back in. He's got a daughter her age, even though he was like breaking in their house to steal this valuable, he couldn't leave the little girl behind. Yeah, but he ends up getting got anyway.
But like, I feel like I could. Like, if that sounds shitty, it's just like, I just escaped death. I have to, like, that guy's nuts. That guy just booby-trapped an entire house. I wasn't supposed to make it out. you know, that girl will be fine.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll come back with the police.
Yeah, and maybe she can hide. She's small. Get back under the goddamn bed. She hid for a long time. Why did she come out? Why did she know that he was outside?
Yeah. I feel like there's an in-between of flicking her off and leaving and going back in to save her.
Yes.
I'll leave and come back with the police.
Yeah, for sure. There are other options, but I guess then there wouldn't be a fucking movie. But I loved the movie, brother.
Sweet.
It's underrated on Rotten Tomatoes. It only has like a 20 to 40% or something. But horror movies, I don't know if you give a shit about Rotten Tomatoes, but horror movies often get bad reviews.
As soon as you look up and see what has like 100% rating, and you look at that and you go, oh, none of this matters.
Right.
Because it's all bullshit. Like all the
bullshit.
things that people are like, this is amazing. This is such a creative work of art and this and that. And you go, yeah, but you got served as a 16%? No way.
Yes.
You got served as a terrible example, but.
So I watched the collection after. I watched the collection afterwards, and the opening scene was amazing, and I like that they brought back the Arkin from the first one. Yeah, the club, when it's basically almost a cultivator that you would put on a farm to like teal up the shit. It goes across this dance floor and just mows down
people.
Yes, and I was thinking about at the beginning of it when they're going to this party. It's like you need a password to get in. It's in this creepy warehouse. I was thinking, this looks cool as shit, and I would love to go to this party.
Yeah. And then you're at this club, you're like having fun. You look up and you just see all these blades, and you're like, I should have been here.
I made a mistake.
I should have stayed home.
Should have stayed home and what other? I should have stayed home and watched The Collector. What other horror movies do you like? All of them,
bro. I just recently rewatched VHS.
Yeah.
Woof.
I love what are those anthologies when it's multiple small movies in one movie?
Yeah.
That's called a horror anthology. That one's great. What do you like about VH? What scares you? Does The Collector scare you?
I don't think any of them really scare me. The ones that I don't watch, I guess, are the ones that scare me. And I don't really watch like poltergeist ones. I don't watch possession ones. Like I've seen Exorcism, I've seen those things, but like those are ones where I go, keep that over there.
Is that because you believe in that stuff?
It's because I don't know. You know what I mean? I know that if I can fight a physical being, that seems way more fair.
Yeah.
Like even Jason, right? Jason is immortal. He's all these things, but you go, I can still put hands on Jason.
At least.
I can get stabbed, I can die, but I can at least go out fighting. Freddy was always my favorite because this is the problem. Freddy's backstory is what keeps him from being the GOAT. Like that he likes kids, dude.
Yeah.
Like if he didn't like kids, you'd go, dude, he's unbeatable.
Yeah, he's my favorite. Brandon's heard me talk about. I never mentioned that he's a pedophile. Well, they kind of leave that behind after the first one.
Yeah, but that is there's a pretty big backstory.
Yeah,
you know?
people are I gotta shave my mustache now. I mean he is an evil son of a bitch, but especially after the second one, they kind of ignore that fact about
they kind
him.
of let it go, but it's still like that's how you built that character originally. So like that's just like the undertone of this stuff, because like even all the little kids at the playground and all these things,
and he's very sexual with these teenage girls.
Right. But like his power being able to kill you in your dreams is unbeatable. You have to sleep.
Yes.
At some point, like. They tried in one of the ones where like they tried to stay awake. They're taking like all these drugs to stay awake, and then eventually you go to sleep and you will die.
Yeah,
and he's hilarious.
He's so funny. Especially, we've talked about Dream Warriors is my favorite. The third one, that girl in the she's watching TV and she's burning herself with cigarettes to stay awake. He eventually says "Welcome to primetime, bitch" and shoves her through the TV.
Pretty wild.
So good. Yeah, that's scary. You got to sleep at some point. I think that's why it's so good, because everybody has nightmares.
You have to, dude. And like the fact that guy's your nightmare, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the ones that are tangible, like you can't really fight Freddy. That's why he's the scariest and arguably the GOAT without being a pedophile. But everybody else, man, like you can't fight ghosts. You can't fight demons. You can't fight. You can do all the exorcism things and whatnot, but like you still get got.
Exactly. Eventually you get got. So are you religious?
No.
You're not.
But I respect it though. Like I'm real in the middle, dude, where I'm just like I'm not opposed to like believing what you believe in. I believe there's something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, and I'm not gonna go to a thing about it.
I think we're all connected in some way. I feel like in some way the whole God thing is just people. Like I think we're all, I don't know, maybe that's because I've done acid, but
No, dude,
I think we're all
genuinely
connected in some way.
have no clue.
Yeah, who
So,
fucking knows?
I just try to stay so in the middle because I hate being wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And you're wrong. Like, somebody's wrong. Millions and millions of people have to be wrong because you can't. There has to be one answer, right? And so everything that's not that answer is wrong. And I'm like, I'd rather not choose a thing.
Right.
I'd rather let the clock tick down, and then at the end I go, I should have known it was that.
Mm-hmm. Before we get to your origin story, was there a horror movie that you remember? Do you remember like an early horror movie, like the first one you watched maybe, or one that fucked you up as a kid? Was it Freddy?
I got a couple. So Chucky early on, this is what happened. My brother's 6 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
So when Chucky comes out, he's of the age of like somebody who wants to watch horror movies and stuff. Yeah. And he would watch it. He watched it in the living room, but we had a pull-out couch, and I hid underneath the pull-out part, right? So I'm underneath, and I'm watching it, and at a certain point, I just ran out from under the bed, freaked everybody out. Nobody knew I was down there. And that was the first one first horror movie I watched on purpose. And yeah, that messed me up for a little while. And also, I rewatched Chucky not even like 3 months ago. Horrible.
Yeah.
It doesn't hold up. It's not, and like just the him running, it looks so absurd.
It's very silly and fun.
It is fun.
But it fucks so many kids up.
Yeah. Because I remember being a kid and watching a kid get traumatized by that or like have to deal with that. And I was like, that could be me. Like, yeah. Chucky was one of the first ones. But one that really got me was Freddy versus Jason.
Really?
So my brother sat me down and like made me watch it. Like was like, you have to see this. And I just remember like it's different if you choose to watch a horror movie, but being forced to watch a horror movie adds another layer of like, why are you making me watch these people die?
Yeah, it feels like torture a little bit.
But then now I love horror movies.
Freddy versus Jason is fun. That's another really silly one. It's great. Lots of good dude. There's like Freddy has a funny line. There's a scene where he chooses to chase the white girl or the black girl, and he faces the black girl, and he's like, dark meat. He makes it's so funny. Him being racist is funny. It's like that's...
Yeah, because it's like he's murdering people. That should be the worst thing. You go, but he's racist.
But he's also racist.
Would you rather your murderer be like super nonchalant? Just being like, dude, I'll kill anybody. You know?
Yeah, I don't care about race or color.
I don't see color. I just see dead people.
I've been with my girlfriend, I've been watching, I don't know if you're into cartoons or superheroes, but I've been watching the Harley Quinn cartoon.
Okay.
And there's a villain named Dr. Psycho, and he gets canceled because he calls Wonder Woman a cunt.
Oh.
And that's such a funny take. It's like they're okay with him murdering and all this stuff. It's like all the League of Doom or whatever, the Legion of Doom are all like, dude, that's too much.
That's too far. You can beat them up, but like equality, dude.
You can blow up their apartment complex.
Dude, I remember watching one of the Batmans. I forget which version of Batman it is, but he's like beating up Harley Quinn, and somebody, I don't know if it's Robin, somebody goes, You punched a woman. He goes, no, I punched a criminal. And like, it's so funny to me to be like, Batman's sense of justice is so high where he's like, anybody can get it.
I've been trying a bit about how I think Batman is autistic because I looked up the symptom. It has not been working, by the way. But I looked up the symptoms for autism, and one of them was an innate sense of justice.
Keen eye for detail.
Yeah, he's well organized. He's got all his toys right here in his belt.
Yep.
He's obsessed with animals.
Dude, there's a lot of similarities, man.
I know. I cannot make it work.
Spectrum Batman is so funny.
Yeah, Spectrum Batman. If you think about it, as far as people who wear capes go, a lot of them are probably autistic.
He's very socially awkward.
Yeah.
Like, even when he's at a party, you're kind of like, Bruce is kind of sus, dude.
Yeah. Did you guys notice Bruce doesn't make eye contact?
And he leaves the parties pretty quickly. Pretty, very Irish goodbye. You know? He doesn't mingle well. Spends his money well. Like
maybe I'll try it again. That's fun. So origin story. What year were you born? How old are you?
94.
Okay, so you're only 2 years older than me. Gotcha. So you're 33?
30.
Wait.
That's
you're
how
94.
math
You're well, hold on. You're younger than me. You're right. You're 2 years younger than me. You're 30. Jesus Christ. Hey, can you edit out me being retarded from the podcast? Just delete the whole episode.
Yeah, we just lost.
Okay,
the
so I'm
entire-
older than you. That's crazy. That's fun. You're so much more accomplished than me. Were you born and raised in Tampa?
Off and on. So we would move and then move back. So I've lived a lot of places. So I didn't go to the same school until high school. Up until like elementary school, middle school, we moved almost every year. So I've lived in Baltimore. I've lived in Texas. Lived in Alabama, Michigan,
Military
Missouri.
brat?
Nah, my brother would get in trouble and we'd just have to leave.
Yo, really?
Yeah, like he would he'd fight or he'd get caught smoking out of school and you'd get expelled and like just little things. And then we'd also get kind of sick of Florida, I guess. But every time we'd move, we'd be like, we miss Florida, we're coming back. And then we'd be like, this kind of sucks. And then we'd move. So we moved around a lot, but for the majority of my life, it's been back and forth of Florida.
Gotcha. Did you have a room in any of the places you lived where you were like scared to go to, like a basement or anything?
We did have a basement in Baltimore.
Was it gnarly? Were you scared to go down there?
Pretty sketchy. Because I was young, and like just basements when you're young in general are just like super like weird. Even during the day, you'd be like, I don't.
Yeah, basements are spooky.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? But like, I also think it's because there's no basements in Florida.
Right.
Like you can't. Like the water level and stuff. So like I didn't grow up around a lot of basements. So when we finally had a house with a basement, I was like, that's not supposed to be there. That's not supposed to be there.
Right.
I've seen that in movies.
Yeah,
That's
no windows. It's just dark, pure darkness.
very sketchy.
Sketchy.
But yeah, that one basement, I think that might be the only basement I've ever had.
Mm-hmm. You ever been anywhere that was supposedly haunted?
Not lived, but I've definitely been to some places.
What's an example of, did you get like a weird feeling, or what's an example of a haunted place you've been to?
It was a traditional like haunted place. I forget where it was. It was like
Okay.
Connecticut or some shit. I was on the road, and
Yeah.
the guy that I was with was like, "Oh, dude, I love haunted houses, man. We gotta check this out. It's like a notorious for like the Fayetteville murders, whatever the fucking name of the thing is." And I did go on a Jack the Ripper tour in London.
That's cool.
It's pretty wild because this guy who did the tour was very interesting. He didn't want to kind of emphasize what the murders were. Like he didn't want to big up Jack the Ripper. So what he did was he showed us all the places that the women got murdered and gave us their backstory, which was super interesting because like you make the victims people, if that makes sense. Of like the backstory of everybody is that like, oh, Jack the Ripper only killed prostitutes and night workers, right? But like most of those people weren't that. And most of the people that were actual prostitutes that he killed weren't prostitutes by trade. It was because they had been divorced and then they had to do that to make money. But seeing all the places where they got murdered was definitely eerie.
And caring and like their backstory, that does make it scarier. There wasn't that many Jack the Ripper victims, right, that we know of. Was it only like 4?
I think it was like at
it's
least
a handful, right?
I think it was like six.
Yeah.
Six to eight, something like that. But
Yeah.
we got taken to all those places, and that definitely felt kind of weird. But yeah, the actual traditional place, the feeling of like a presence or an essence, like those things, I think are generally because you've talked yourself into it, right? Where you're like, I feel a thing, and then that doubles or it triples. It's like hearing a noise outside and thinking it's somebody tapping on your window and it's a branch.
Yes.
Like we do most of the work for ourselves.
Yeah, I don't. Ever since I decided I wasn't religious, I used to be so scared of the dark, like afraid something was in there. And as soon as I stopped believing in that stuff, I got less scared. Like I feel like some people turn to religion to make them. I guess people are scared to go to hell and
To
stuff.
give themselves an answer.
Yeah, to give themselves an answer. But I don't know. It made I feel like I'm less. My life is better without that fear of going to hell or that fear of.
Which is interesting because I think most people that end up turning away from religion feel that way.
Yeah.
Most people go, I used to be religious and now I'm free.
Yes.
And then they
That's how I
they
feel.
end up living like a more life that makes sense to them, if that makes sense. But then the people who turn to religion and grasp it too tight of like, I have to live this way, I have to do this and that, they end up having more fear than anybody.
That's true. That's true. But I mean, I like what you said about just finding what fits for you? Like, I don't judge anybody. You know, my parents are religious. I don't judge anybody with religious beliefs. Like, whatever keeps you waking up in the morning, go for it, sister.
Literally,
you know?
the only thing that bothers me is when people are finite in their answers. When they know.
Yes,
You don't
that's
know.
annoying. I loved your
Nobody
answer.
knows.
Yeah, when you said, I don't know. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
And
dude.
and
nobody's been there and back.
they do that because they don't want to think about the alternative.
Yep.
That there is nothing. That
They've
your loved
committed
ones,
so hard to the
Yes.
bit that they can't undo it now.
Yeah.
And they can't be shown any other way because that would make them wrong and that would make their last 20, 30 years of religion a wash.
A wash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just believe what you believe in. If it helps you sleep at night and if it helps you live a better life, beautiful. And like
Exactly.
the teachings are all be a good person. Like at the end of the day, it's
Yeah.
do unto others, that kind of thing.
It's a good like cheat code way to treat or to teach kids to be good people.
Yeah. The issue is when you go, this is the only right answer, and you go, come on, man, you don't know that.
Yeah. There's
don't
no
know
way.
that.
There's no way.
Nobody's met the person. Nobody's met them and come back with things. You go, but I have a book. And you go, that could be anything.
It could be anything.
Could be
It's-
anything. There's
it's-
1,000 books. They got a book. I got
That's
a
true.
book.
Yeah, why is your religion right and all these other ones wrong? You know,
Dude,
so and Christianity's not even the oldest one.
Yeah. And I always had this thing where, like I said, I don't care what anybody believes,
Right.
but Christians are notorious for being the ones that are diehard. This
Yeah.
is the right answer, right? And I was like so diehard to the point where you'd get to the afterlife and even Jesus would be like, it's been Buddha this whole time. And they'd be like, no, it's you. It's been you. And he's like, no,
Yeah.
dude. He's like, I appreciate the love, the support. You know, I appreciate you.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's
Buddha's
Buddha.
the man.
Like, Buddha's
Yeah.
the man. And like his teachings were actually what you should have lived by. And
Yeah.
they were like, it's you. Like they would be so die on that hill of like, telling Jesus, you're the guy. You have to be the guy
Right.
because I've dedicated my whole life to you being the guy.
Mm-hmm. I think whatever it is, we're not going to fully understand it till we're dead, if
Mm-hmm.
it is there. So I think once you die, you'll just instantly, if that's the case, you just instantly understand everything. I think there's just shit
Which
we
is
can't
terrifying.
understand. It's so terrifying.
Like getting all that
So
information
scary.
at once and being like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's scary. It's
Like a
yeah.
3-hour movie where the plot twist is the last 2 minutes where you're just like the build up, and you go
Yeah.
this and you go, that? It was that the whole time?
The whole time. It's Ms. Doubtfire. Let's see. Religion, ghosts. Have you been anywhere haunted? Oh, what scares you physically? Like examples: the dark, heights, spiders, drowning, the gays,
The gays
little-
physically
little-
scared me.
little holes and shit.
Um,
That trypophobia. We've talked about that a couple times on the podcast. Have you seen that? Where it's just like little holes in skin.
Oh. No.
Yeah, little holes scare people. Supposedly, I think it's more of an
It didn't
internet
scare me
meme
until
thing.
right now, until this moment where I was like, holes in your skin.
I just gave you.
You can do
that. Does anything scare you? You scared of heights? Needles?
Off and on. Needles, no. I've always been
Oh
able
yeah,
to.
you're a tattoo guy.
Yeah, I've also been able to watch myself get like blood drawn and stuff.
Mhm.
You know, they'll be like, "Look away, this and that." And I'm like, "I'm good. I'd
Yeah.
rather watch you do it.
Right.
I'd rather
you
be
watch
able
it
to-
go in there. You're
Yeah.
a psycho.
I'd be able to. Like that way I can prepare.
Yeah,
That's the
you-
same way
you
we're like I like
know
watching
right
the
when
tattoo
you're feeling the pain.
because I can. It's almost it feels very tismy because like I like knowing how much of the job is left to be done. If I look over here, this could be anything. This could be we could be 5% done, we could be 10% done. But if I'm watching it, I know exactly how far we have to go.
Were you scared to get your first tattoo? Was it
No.
ever? No.
I got my first one. It was on my chest. My dad paid for it. I was 17, so he had to sign for it, and he only did it because it pissed my mom off.
Really?
Yeah, he signed for it. That was part of the present.
That's
he was
funny.
like, "I
How-
will sign for it."
How old were you?
I was 17,
17.
which like a year later I could have got it anyways.
Right.
But
I got my eyebrow pierced at 17.
tight.
Yes.
When did you take it out?
19 in college.
Immediately.
Yeah. I had it for like 2 years. Yeah, I took it out in college.
That's funny, dude.
Yeah.
I had my ears pierced, and I took them out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went through a photo album recently, and I saw old pictures of me with my ears pierced, and I was like, "Hate that guy."
I can see you with an ear pierce. Is
It
that
is
insulting?
terrible. Oh no, I know who I was. I don't like that guy. Yeah. But no, I've got fears, and they come in waves. You know, like sometimes I'm afraid of heights, and sometimes I'm not. Like I skydived, and a lot of people's fears jumping out of the plane. Like that moment, that was the least of my fear. My fear was like the actual like breathing while you're up there. I don't breathe. I got asthma and I got allergies and stuff. So like I had to physically like
Yeah.
But like the actual jumping wasn't the fear. But if I'm on the side of a building, that's scary. And I think part of it is because part of you goes, what if I jumped? You know? Like that's scary of like almost the intrusive thoughts. Like those are the things that get you, you know?
They leak in there. I try to, back on the religion thing, like I do some meditation, like Buddhism stuff. I'm not really a Buddhist, but I like mindfulness and meditation and stuff, and I try to be mindful of my thoughts. So I just concentrate on my breath, and meditation is all about just letting things pass by. So you recognize thoughts as thoughts, and you don't identify with them.
Wow. That's
And
deep.
so you just like
I don't
you're
do that
sitting
at
there.
all.
You hate it?
I don't, and I wish I did that. That seems way more healthy.
I use a guided meditation app. It's called Waking Up, and it just tells you what to do. There's like lulls where you just breathe, and then it'll be like, sometimes it's love and kindness. There's like different types. Love and kindness is like when you're just thinking about one person who you have an uncomplicated relationship with, and you just wish nothing but like, may you be safe, may you be happy,
Wow.
And
That's beautiful.
It's helped me a lot. Because I think
Meanwhile,
I'm
dude, I'll spiral.
Yeah, dude.
I spiral quick.
Yeah, it helps you because the breathing doesn't actually help. It's being mindful about the breathing. It's paying attention to the breath and just letting things pass by. And you're like, okay, these are just
You just
thoughts.
telling me this makes me breathe.
Yeah.
Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Where I'm just like, I'm okay.
Yeah, everything's fine. You don't have anything to worry about right now. Like all we have is just me and you, right? Like this is the moment. That's what it's all about.
What if my car's getting towed?
This
is all you have to worry about.
You
Go out there,
immediately
there's
have
somebody out there.
intrusive thought. Yeah, our cars will
Can
be
we go
fine,
back in
I think.
there?
You ever get scared walking down 6th Street or anything? Do you get scared in the city?
I get annoyed.
Yeah.
I mean, because this city is super gross, but it does remind me of Tampa. So, there's certain situations, but also owning guns helps.
You're not scared of guns? You like a gun?
Love guns. Man.
Hell yeah.
Big gun guy.
You got a bunch?
I got like 6.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I've done shows and been paid in guns.
You told me that.
Yeah.
That's fun. That's
Yeah.
badass.
That's so fun.
You're kind of a badass, Cam. That's fun. Your whole thing on stage, though, is being like silly and baby-faced, right? But you're like kind of...
But I also understand that the flip side of that, people don't want to hear the truth. Like, you know what I mean? Not the truth, like I'm a super badass, but like I've lived a wild life.
Yeah. Well,
dude, I used to crime. Like,
yeah. Okay. So can we talk about that a little bit? Are you comfortable talking about that?
care,
You mentioned your brother got in trouble. Were you ever in a sketchy situation? Have you ever been held at gunpoint? Have you ever been scared of like thinking you're about to get caught by the police?
yeah.
Tell me stories.
I'm from Florida.
yeah.
These are all just natural occurrences.
So were you poor?
Single mom.
Yeah.
And so
What
like,
was that Frank
we
is laughing? Is that?
That was just
No, poor
so
just
were
feels-
you poor?
it's like a.
Yeah, sorry.
I know what you meant.
Poor just feels like woe is me. It's like, yeah, we were poor. Like that's always felt kind of weird. But
Yeah.
Single mom, she did her best, 2 jobs, like busted her ass, and me and my brother were home alone a lot. So
Gotcha.
yeah, we used to steal groceries. And
Okay.
my mom would come home to like a full pantry or like milk in the fridge, and she'd be like, "Who got this?" And we'd be like, "Oh, James felt bad because he ate the snacks last week, so like he replenished the thing." And she knew we were lying, but she was also like, "Well, bitch, we got
There's
milk and
in the
eggs."
fridge.
So
yeah,
you
don't
know.
ask, don't tell situation.
Right. And so like
That's interesting.
We'd kind of do that. And
How old were you when you committed your first crime?
Ooh, that's fun. I mean, definitely like stealing candy from like the gas station or whatever. So
Okay.
like what, like 7, maybe 8,
That's
whatever.
Okay.
Like, just like
Okay.
a kid stealing candy, and
And
then
your brother was 6 years older?
yeah, and my brother,
Gotcha. 36?
somewhere around there.
Yeah.
His birthday's in like August, so
Okay.
like
Gotcha.
36, 37.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's amazing. He definitely started getting into stuff early on because weird backstory, but like his big role model in his life was his uncle, and he was with his uncle when he died. There's a motorcycle accident, like not a motorcycle, a dirt bike, right? So they're riding dirt bikes, and the dirt bike landed on top of him. So he saw that, and that fucked him up. So he got into drugs, got into just kind of crime. And so I watched that, and you know, I idolized my big brother, and so I was always just kind of with him and kind of saw that, and like I saw what to do, what not to do, but like I almost found a way to do crimes without getting caught, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And but I never got into drugs. But I definitely you know, we used to just do dumb shit. I liked fun crimes. I didn't like scary crimes. We did scary crimes, but I liked fun crimes. I liked Shooting out windows with a BB gun. You ever thrown a brick through a windshield?
I have. No, through windshield? No. I have shot out windows with a BB gun before. I'm from Alabama, and we used to also vandalize shit. Well, I didn't do any serious crimes, but I used to, like, rip the emblems off of the hoods of cars. I have at my parents' house, I have a whole lockbox of, like, Cadillac emblems and shit. I used to just be a little shit.
That's fun.
But I never did any, like, serious
I can't express this to you enough.
crimes.
Throwing a brick through a windshield is the greatest joy on earth.
I bet it is.
I don't know how to explain it other than you got
ever-
this big piece of
You
just
like,
earth and
now,
you just
I picture you standing up on the hood of the car and just like, was it like that?
you
or
can but you can. I don't recommend that. That's way harder to get like a good thrust
and you might
and then
get
jump
some,
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, the fun part is just standing directly in front of it and just yeeting that thing through the windshield, dude.
So, what's a scary crime? We don't have. We can talk about. Or
I've
not talk
definitely
about anything that you don't want to.
gone into a home while they weren't there, but definitely
Yeah.
just like burglary, I suppose. But like, yeah, the fear of like them coming home and like,
Then you have an altercation.
yeah, then you have a choice. You know, either you continue this crime or you flee, and then
Yeah.
neither are fun. I was
Uh-uh.
also like super young, and it's pretty wild. Yeah, we went inside this house and we took a couple things, and then we went through the doggy door, like the doggy door in the
Damn.
back of the house.
Could you imagine how scary that would look if you were inside the house?
Yeah, you just see a
crawling in
person
there.
crawl through the doggy door. Pretty wild. And then yeah, no, that one messed me up. Didn't end up ever doing that one again because what ended up happening was the kid that I did it with is a loudmouth idiot, and so like he was telling everybody in the neighborhood, yeah, we went in this house, yeah, we stole this, we stole that, whatever. And so police ended up finding out, right? So the police come to my door, and I'm in the shower. My brother knocks on the door, and he was like, hey, police are here. You don't know nothing. You don't know nothing about nothing, because my brother knew. And so I go to the door. I'm lying wholeheartedly. I was like, I don't know nothing about that. That's crazy. Somebody got robbed. Oh, well. And they were like, all right, well, now that you've committed to this lie, your friend is back home crying, told us everything. And I was like, what? And then as soon as they said that, bro, this red pickup truck pulls up, and it's his dad's driving. He's in the passenger seat, boo-hooing.
Damn. Threw you under
And
the bus.
so immediately I'm like, all right, yep, we did that. Here's all the stuff. And the lady, this is what messed me up. The lady just wanted all the stuff back. And my mom is amazing. And so my mom was so disappointed and everything. So she made me go sit down and talk to the lady. And the lady explained what it felt like to be afraid to sleep in her own home. And she said she slept every night with a knife under her pillow. And because she didn't know who was breaking into her house, she didn't know what they were after, she didn't know if they'd be back. And when she explained that to me, it clicked as to what I took from her. It wasn't things, it wasn't materials, it
took
was
security.
safety. Yeah, it was security. And ever since then, I was like, woof.
That gives me chills.
Dude, it fucked me up for like a long time. Like I was bawling my eyes out in her living room because I understood what I did to her, and I was like, wow, I was just trying to take a fucking Game Boy, you know, and like in my head, like I was like, oh, I got things, and like, but to her, she was like, fuck those things. I was afraid that I was gonna get murdered or taken or like all these things, and yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, my dad called me one time. I was living in Florence, Alabama. I was working in radio at the time. My dad calls me. He's like, hey, the house got broken into. He was in Memphis working construction, and my mom got home, and the house had been broken into, and she was, like, scared to go inside, and the cops, but he was like, can you go and just, like, stay with your mom tonight? Because it was, like, similar. She was just like, she doesn't know if they're still in there. Like, she didn't know if they were coming back. Not to compound.
No. But like,
yeah,
it's a
she
real
was,
thing.
Yeah, that because and then now they ended up getting a German Shepherd and got new screen doors. They kind of needed it because they lived in rural Alabama. Like we would sometimes forget to lock the door and stuff, and it was cool for a while. We actually think we know who might have broken in, but
Yeah, we always made sure everything was locked because the areas weren't great. We lived in one area. I forget. It was in Florida. I forget which part of Florida, though.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember it was called Hoodbridge. Like, it was Woodbridge, but everybody called it Hoodbridge. And
that's great.
I remember I was a kid, and I remember I wanted to go to the playground, but the sun had already set, and it was dark out, and I wanted to go, and they were like, you can't go out there. And I was like, well, it's just a playground. And I, like, kind of snuck out. I didn't make it to, like, the staircase in the apartment complex. I didn't make it out of the thing. My brother runs out and he grabs me, and he was like, there's, like gang activity at this playground. It's a playground in an apartment complex. He goes, that's where they sell drugs. That's where they they do their business, whatever. And as he said that, as we're walking back in, as soon as the door shuts, we hear gunshots. And I was like, they're shooting at a playground. And like I just remember that as a kid of being like, I can't even go on a swing set or a slide outside of our apartment.
Playgrounds aren't safe.
Dude, at all. Like that shit was crazy. And like
That
during
is
the day,
crazy. That sucks to lose playgrounds as a
yeah,
kid.
dude. Yeah, we had to go to a playground like 15 minutes away.
In
just
a nice part of town.
Nice part of town. Yeah, they had a water park.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah, we'd get to go there like every other week,
I
like
had
twice a month.
I had a season pass. We had Point Mallard in Decatur, Alabama. That was like 30, 45 minutes from my parents' house, and I would get season passes. We go every day. We were pool rats. We were heathens. It was just like, we took the energy of like vandalizing and stuff into the water park. We would like jump off these big high dives and splash people. We were just like, we would stop up the slides and stuff. We were menaces. But it was good memories though. Point Mallard, I want to go back.
Oh,
They had an Olympic pool with like high dives and these big platforms. One time I tried to do a gainer off of it. And that was scary. But do you know what a gainer is?
Yeah.
Florida?
Yeah.
Jump forward, do a backflip.
Yeah.
And I landed flat on my back off of this like second I don't know how high it is, but it's high. Landed flat on my back. And I remember afterwards being at the concession stand, and I just had my shirt off still. And I heard this mom say to her son, "Don't stare, honey. Some people are just different." It looked like I had third-degree burns on my back. It was like whelps from the water. I looked like a mutant. It looked crazy. She was like, "Don't stare.
that's
Some people are
nuts.
just different. Some people are just
I
born
love
different."
jumping off of high things.
Yeah, me
Cliffs
too.
and stuff. And I remember one of the last times I was in Florida, we were at this lake. We were climbing the tree and jumping off higher and higher and higher. And I climbed to the very top, the top branch where like you should like if you put your foot on this, you have to jump because there is nothing else to grab onto. And as soon as I jumped off of that, I was like, oh shit, like this is too high. I hit the water, pointed my feet, did all the right things, but the water hit my butthole so hard. The water just shot up my butthole. It hurt for like 3 days of just like my butt, just from jumping so high that the impact just went inside of me.
Man,
Pretty wild.
now you know what a bottom feels like.
Dude, not a fan. They can keep it.
Like, were you ever questioning your sexuality before that? You're like, nope, never.
Nope, can't do it. Yeah, that hurt.
Well, that's fun. Are you? Well, let me see if there's any other questions I want to ask. Were you ever scared of your brother? Or not of your? Well, okay. Were you ever scared of your brother? Did he ever scare you?
No.
You guys were tight. Were you ever? The question I meant to ask was, were you ever scared for your brother with the shit he's getting into
Absolutely.
when he started going to jail?
Almost
Did
every day.
jail?
He was in jail for he did 9 years in Coleman County Correctional. Is a pretty good prison.
Yeah,
Pretty,
Coleman County. That's where Heath Cordes is from. Coleman.
Yeah, he
Oh wait, no, but you're Florida, right?
Yeah.
Coleman. Okay, I was thinking Coleman.
he got arrested for drug trafficking, gun trafficking, and then selling to an undercover. He basically got set up by the guy that he was working underneath. Very big, prominent dealer in Florida. That guy got popped and then sold out on everybody underneath him. And then because my brother didn't tell, he got the maximum that he could get. And my brother was. It's very interesting. I actually thought about this the other day. Of like he's always been a very respectful person to everybody else, but like everybody sees him as like kind of a scary guy, but he's always been so soft with me, and I mean soft in the nicest possible way of just a very kind, loving big brother, like an amazing, like the big brother you want, you know what I mean,
out of
just
a
like
movie.
only nice to you. He'll pick on you, he'll bully you, but the second somebody else does it, it's over. Like,
Did you ever see him beat the shit out of anybody for you?
so many people, bro, so many people. We got into family fights. My brother, I saw my mom beat somebody up, dude. We got into this fight because
The whole Bertrand family is bad.
getting it in, dude. So my brother broke up with this girl. Well, this girl broke up with him because he cheated on her. So
Yeah.
she kept a bunch of his stuff: CD player, clothes, hoodies, like just kept things, right? And so he told my mom. My mom was like, "I paid for those things. We're gonna go get your stuff back." We pull up to their house, and the lady was like, "You're not getting nothing back. Your son's a piece of shit. He cheated on my daughter." Blah, blah. And my mom goes, "I hear what you're saying. I bought that stuff. We're gonna get it back." She's like, "No, you're not." My mom was like, "All right, bet." Grabbed her by the back of the hair, started beating her up, and then the brother of the girl comes out. My brother starts fighting him.
That's so funny.
We had just left my baseball practice, so I pulled a bat out the car. My brother's mid-fight. He looks at me, he goes, "Put the bat back." I'm like, "All right." Put the bat back in the car, and yeah, it was pretty wild. It was a family ordeal.
That's adorable that your brother was mid-fight. but
Mid-fight,
still
and
had one eye on you.
100%. It was pretty wild. Like of just like his ability to Big Brother like super well of like
Under fire.
under fire, just mid fight, boom, 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 and then being like,
Bat
that's
away.
a felony. Yeah, it's like an aluminum bat.
Yeah,
Too.
how often did he stop you from doing something wild like that?
All the time.
Yeah. where he
Yeah,
was like,
his
"That's gonna
whole
fuck
thing
up
was
your
kind of
life."
like watch me and don't do what I do kind of thing of like he never encouraged me to do anything. Almost even if I would do something, he'd almost be disappointed, but like he'd also understand. Like he'd be like, I've done that
He'd be
too.
empathetic.
Yeah, but he'd be like, I get it, but he'd also be like, don't be me, you
Mm-hmm.
know? And that's also we've had a lot of moments where like he feels bad, but I also go, dude, watching you made me not do drugs, made me not do certain
Yeah.
things, and like and I also understood that that doesn't change a person. It just circumstances are what they are. That's why when people like shit on homeless people and stuff, you go, you are one bad day away from being that.
Brother, I think about that all the
Dude,
time.
losing a job, getting a habit, getting an addiction, you know, life comes at you hard. None of those homeless people thought about being homeless. They were kids one day.
Yeah.
They were children who said no to drugs and they said no to these things and they were like, "Oh, I'll never be that." Something happens. You lose a family member, you lose a job, you lose a love, like the love of your life, whatever. Something, you become that. You could slip and fall, twist your back. Now you can't work. Now you're homeless.
Yep.
It's one thing.
Yeah.
We're that close every day.
Are you scared of being poor and unsuccessful?
Every day.
Yeah.
My biggest
doing
fear is
great.
probably not being good enough.
Yeah.
Like at all times in anything I do. I don't do things I'm not good at.
Yeah.
Like I don't.
I don't
I played.
anymore.
I played
it
disc
took me-
golf one time, and I was bad at it. And I go, I'll never do this again. That's why I
Yeah.
don't golf. That's why I don't do certain things.
But the more time, what you found with comedy, the more time and effort you put into something consistently, you can get better at it.
Yeah, but I also think that the more time and effort you put into something, you distract from something you're actually good at.
Ooh.
So the thing is like, I like drums. I've never done it, but I like the idea of drumming. And somebody goes, you can just drum. You can just get good at it. You can do this and that. And I go, yeah, but that's somebody's career path. That's somebody's passion. And if I do it just because I like it and I pick it up as a hobby, I'm distracting from what my career path is, right? So imagine if Travis Barker goes, I want to do stand-up. We'd all go, this isn't your thing.
Yeah.
No matter how much
T.I.
you get, no matter how much you do this for 10 years and you figure out this and that, and you go, you're a fucking drummer, dude. So it's like,
And
I'm a
you're so
comic,
good at
I'm
it.
a writer, I'm this and that. So like, I understand that the more that I distract from the things that I actually is in my wheelhouse, and I go, oh, I could just be multifaceted. There are very few people on this planet that can be extremely talented at multiple things.
Yeah.
You know, Childish Gambino with Donald Glover is one of them.
He's
Like,
a renaissance man.
there's a few people where you go, you are so good at multiple things, and that is an anomaly. Most people have one or two things. Outside of that, if you see somebody's bio and it says activist, writer, poet, politician, this and they got 17, cameraman, videographer, this,
They
you go,
suck at all those
you're
things.
terrible at all of them because you refuse to choose one. And you know why? Because if you chose one and you were bad at it, you'd hate yourself.
Hell yeah. Well, that's going to be a clip. That's great. I played baseball for like 14 years and sucked the whole time. And my dad was like my coach and stuff, which I don't blame my parents, but I sucked the whole time. I'm a slow runner. My feet when I stand just naturally point outwards. I am a slow. I was good. I was fast at strafing on defense in basketball. I was like the
Kid's got a good
fastest
stance.
strafer.
Kid's
I was
locked in, dude.
Yeah, I was the fastest strafer. But I wish that someone was like, "Hey, brother, you suck at this. You should." I quit eventually because I realized, like junior year of high school, I was like, "Oh, the only time I get bullied is on the baseball field, and it's just my friends telling me that I
Yeah, you
suck."
suck, yeah.
And they were right.
Dude, I was
They're like,
terrible
you
in
run
baseball.
like a fucking duck. You're bad. You're losing. Like you're making errors, and it's bad for the
Every time
team.
they're like, all right, batter up.
Yeah, and then I'm just like, get back up there. My somebody looked at.
Dude, that's how bad comics are. You're like, dude, you're not good. And they're just like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And then
yeah, comedy. I didn't start comedy until 27. It's the first thing that I. How old were you? You must have been young.
18, 19.
Wow. See, that's so cool. I wish. But yeah, I was 27 when I started. I started 5 years ago, and it's the first thing I've done where I was like, oh, I'm good at this. This is what it feels like to be. Not saying I'm like great. I'm getting better.
you're very funny.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much. But I do feel like I have a natural ability to be decent at it, and now I have to work on work on writing, work on everything. But it's the first thing that I've done where I really feel like I was good at it off the bat.
Yeah.
Like where there was something there. I wish that someone when I was a kid would like put me in drama, but also I'd be a completely different person.
I always had this thought of like, if you could take hometown hero, right? Or like just the OG, the old guy who sticks around. He's done comedy for 20, 30 years, and he doesn't really have anything to show for it, but he's just a local headliner, right?
Yeah.
I always thought if you could take that guy and you go back 20, 30 years ago, whenever they started, and you tell them, hey, this is what your life will end up being like 20, 30 years from now, would they reconsider and would they go, oh, my God, that seems like such a waste of time for me to just still be in the city, to still be doing the same hour I've been doing for 15 years and all these things. And then you go, would they change and pivot and go do something else? And I don't think they would. They would hear that and they'd go, I'll figure it out. They would end up the delusion of telling themselves, it's the same thing with the religion thing of like, you can't tell yourself you were wrong for that long.
Yeah.
Like, because it's almost like you committed, you got to die with the bit. You got to just be like, well, we're here now. It's almost like how people treat marriages, dude. We're like, what am I going to do? Get divorced after 40 years of marriage? And you just stick with it and you're just miserable?
People have kids for the same reason, which is sad. They're like, well, I guess this is the next step.
Yep.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks to feel trapped. I am thankful. Like I got out of Alabama at 20. I guess I was 30 when I moved here, which I feel like is pretty late. I never left Alabama before that. I moved around in Alabama, but I am glad I got out. And I feel like I'm working towards something. That fear of just waking up and it's been another 6 years. You know.
The best thing is though is that art is so not contingent on age.
Yeah.
Like, what's her name? Bette Midler? Is that who it is?
I'll check.
She didn't get successful until like late 60s.
Yeah, there's a
where
lot.
It's just like there's circumstances where like art is art, and like you lived
Morgan
a life
Freeman
before that.
Was like 50 when he got Driving Miss Daisy, or 55 or something.
You know, it's different than like athlete. If you had hoop dreams by 18, you know whether or not you were going to be shit, and those go quick, very fast. Where like you don't just find it late. Like the weird stories of like a guy walking on to the Philadelphia Eagles and becoming the kicker, like it's not a thing.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, that's not, you want, like athleticism is a physical trait, but like your brain develops over time and you life experiences and stuff. And like stand up is a skill set that you can learn if you have the ability to do it, you know?
Yeah.
So like I always feel bad when people say that they started late and this and that. And I go, you have life. You have life experience.
Yeah.
My first
I don't know what I would have talked about at 18. What did you talk about at 18? Were you good?
A lot of porn. Honestly, yeah.
Yeah.
Like I started off and like even my worst sets back then, I was still doing well.
Yeah.
And my first set that I ever did, nobody knew it was my first set. I get off stage, this guy comes up to me, he goes, you want to do this competition next month? It was literally a month away. I go, yep. I do that competition. I win. I do the next round of the competition. I go to the finals, which was my third time ever on stage. I get absolutely cooked. I end up probably like bottom 3 out of like a 12-person competition.
That was your second set, or did you do sets?
That was my
between
third
then?
set. No, I didn't even do sets in between. And I didn't understand what stand-up was as far as like you do the same material you figured out. So I wrote new jokes for each set.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just writing a bunch of jokes and just doing them the first time. That's why the final competition, I went up and I had this cancer joke, but it was a 2-part joke. And I did the first part and it bombed. And then I had to do the second part because that's all I had written. Mm-hmm. And so I do the second part and that bombs even worse. And then I apologized. I was like, I'm sorry. And then that gets a pop because everybody's like, jeez. And
a comedian saying I'm sorry on stage
crazy.
is the funniest shit.
Especially like an 18-year-old being like, I'm sorry. Everybody was just like, brutal. Yeah.
Were you doing a lot of, were you doing a lot of black rooms?
I did do like quite a bit.
Yeah.
But like I'd say it's probably 60-40 as far as like maybe even 65-30, 25.
Gotcha. Those can be brutal because they're very honest. And
one of the worst
sets
sets I ever had was a black room. It was at Cat's Cafe in
Yeah.
Atlanta. It's Carlos Miller's room.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes up, he hosts the show, but he did an hour and some change up top, absolutely murdering. I look at my friend, he was like, he watches him every week, like host the show.
Mm-hmm.
I go, how much of this have you heard? And he goes, none of it. And he's destroying. So I was like, fuck. So then he brings up Ronnie Jordan. Ronnie Jordan absolutely murders. Brings up some girl. She crushes. And then I go up and just, man, I'm talking about crickets. I get lit early. I come off and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck just happened. I go up to Carlos. I was like, dude, I'm sorry. I just bombed. And he goes, they throw something at you? I said, no. He said, they heckle you? I was like, no. He was like, they were just quiet. I was like, yeah. He was like, oh, they were listening. You're fine. He was like, if they didn't like you, they would have fucked you up.
Yeah.
And I was like, that still felt awful.
Yeah,
I was like,
I
I'd
did
rather
like
them.
it. Yeah.
I'd rather them beat me up than to just look at me and go,
I did a room. It was a hot chicken restaurant in Huntsville, Alabama. And while I was doing my set, I mean, I was just bombing. And this guy yells out, do Shaggy do. Like, and this didn't get a pop in. My first response was like, that's not his last name. Shaggy's last name is not Do.
That's so funny.
They're not brothers. And then I went, and then that didn't get a pop, and I just looked around at the crowd, and I went, zoinks! And that got a huge pop. It got a massive pop. And then the rest of it was okay, and I got the fuck off stage.
Selling out for the bit is so funny.
Yeah.
Zoinks!
So I was like, all right, I'll dance your little dance. Just don't hate me.
Dude, I did this little comedy festival thing, but it was so weird. There was no reason for us to be doing this. It was like 2:00 in the morning. Everybody was high, but it was a music festival. And so like everybody was just like on acid. They were just out of their minds, right? And so like I'm doing these jokes, and they're just staring at me as far as just like kind of like, what is happening right now? And this dude had this like dildo on a bandana thing, and I was like, I feel like I'd have to wear that for y'all to care about what I'm saying right now. And they lit up, and the guy hands it to me. I put it on. I do the rest of my set murdering. I was like, I hated that I sold out for the bit. That's my zoinks. Like, that's my being like, I'll do whatever it takes to win in this moment right now.
Exactly. Yeah. You can't have a lot of shame in this business. You just gotta.
You gotta do what you gotta do to win.
Do what you gotta do.
And then you go home and go, I can't believe I sold out and I did that.
Well, this is fucking. I got 2 more questions. There's so much stuff that I didn't ask. We'll have to do another episode someday.
For sure, dude. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, dude. Thank you for doing it. I appreciate you, brother. This is great. Okay. Last 2 questions. They're deep. What scares you about yourself?
Oof. If I'm being completely honest, it's my inability to de-escalate a situation. So, like, it takes a lot for me to get to a certain thing because, like, I'll do everything I can to avoid the thing because I know that once we get here, I'm ready to go. Like, once it gets to 10, I don't have a middle ground. Like, so if we have an altercation, I did everything I can to not get there. But if we get to 10, something tragic is going to happen.
Yeah.
And I just hate the idea of inconsiderate people and being disrespected and people thinking that they value their time, their effort, they value themselves more than you. And it's the equivalent of like somebody standing in a line and being like, oh, can you believe this? They want people to agree with them because they're selfish and they're inconsiderate. It's like that person who's checking people out and ringing people up, they're doing their best. Yeah. And like they don't want there to be 40 people in this line because they're going to have to deal with more of you. So it's inconsiderate people just in life of like, dude, the other one that happened the other day of like this homeless guy was mad that I didn't give him money. And he was like, it was weird to me of like, I don't know you. I don't owe you anything, but you're upset because you feel like because I have something, I should give it to you. It's inconsiderate. It's unfair. And to almost put that burden on somebody else. And so like just anything where somebody is willing to push you past a certain point and then think that there's no repercussions, you have to have consequences. That's the only way people learn. I've been saying there's so many people have never been punched in the face. And that's why society gets to where it gets to.
Exactly.
Is because people don't have consequences.
Yeah.
If you don't take accountability for your actions, that is why you are how you are. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, accountability's big. Yeah, I have a temper. I get mad when I feel disrespected or if somebody around me is getting like disrespected. And then people just thinking thinking everyone around them is a fucking idiot when they're the one making a mistake. It's like you're not being introspective at all. Like I'm getting mad right now.
Yeah,
dude,
I get mad thinking about people valuing themselves higher or thinking that they're more important or that their feelings are the only ones that matter.
Yeah, because I'm constantly, and maybe I shouldn't project this on other people, but I'm constantly trying to be self-aware, probably too self-aware sometimes, like worried about disrespecting someone or I want everybody to like me and shit like that. And so when someone else doesn't have that, I'm like, what the fuck, man? Fuck are we doing? How?
Like if somebody complains and gets free stuff at a restaurant,
I
go, how are you not better at just taking the L, man?
Yeah.
Or just by being like, no, it's totally okay.
How much
it's
spit
fine.
have you fucking eaten?
Yeah.
It's like you're being mean to the people that are making your food. That pisses me off.
Yeah.
We kind of touched on this topic. Are you afraid to die?
Yeah. It's the fear of the life leaving your body. The fear of not knowing what's after. The fear of not knowing if what the other side is. It's all scary. The whole thing is encompassingly scary.
Yeah.
Right? Because imagine you get shot and your body starts knowing it's dying. It starts doing the defense mechanism thing of like,
You're seeing your life flash before
You're
your
seeing
eyes.
that stuff, and like you don't know what the end is. Does it just TV screen just static, go blank?
Yeah, who knows?
Who knows? And then who knows what's after?
Yeah.
So the in the moment part of dying is scary. The scary part of not knowing when.
Yeah.
All of that. All the encompassing thing about it being over is terrifying.
It is scary. Slightly sillier but still dark question. What would be your least favorite way to die?
Least favorite?
Yeah, like what's the one that would like a drown or a eaten alive, buried alive?
No, because those are all still like ways that you could die and people would understand. I mean, like you slip and fall and you hit you hit a coffee table. You know what I mean? Coffee table to the neck, dude. Like refrigerator falls on you, vending machine, like coconut hitting your head.
That's a good point.
Those are terrible.
Yeah,
bro.
but if like, dude, did you hear like Cam got eaten to death?
Yeah, the fear
That's
of
like an understandable.
Yeah, getting eaten by a gator or a shark or
Yeah,
like those things. You go, that's a ballsy way to go. Like
Yeah.
a lion, you get eaten by like a predator,
Yeah.
or you get shot or you get stabbed. You get sympathy. But if you go vending machine. He slipped on soap and then the coffee table, or he was in the shower and the something, or like you ever had a fear? I don't know if you've lived in apartments, but like you ever fear them falling through?
Yeah. Wait, I've never.
Terrifies me.
No, I've lived in downstairs. I live in a downstairs apartment right now, and I'll hear my neighbors. I've never, like, it always sounds like they have a fucking elephant up there, but I've never pictured just someone falling through. There was
dying,
in Alabama, there was a dude that fell through the ceiling of a Waffle House one time, and there was a video. Could you imagine you're just eating Waffle House, and then some motherfucker just falls on your pancakes?
That's so funny. I'd still eat around him.
Oh, shit. Well, that's going to be it, brother, dude. Thank you so much.
This was a blast, man. Thank you for having me.
CamBertrand.com. This is going to be out. We're going to try to get it out by next Tuesday, which is the 28th.
Tight.
Do you have anything you want to plug?
Nope.
Okay. CamBertrand.com, dude. Thank you so much for doing
thank
this.
you for having
I love
me,
you.
man. Love you too.
Bye.
Meh.